Hi, welcome to Artistry Collaborative. My name is JoAnn and I am so glad you're here today. If you're new to my channel, well, welcome. I hope you like what you see and get inspired to do some new DIY projects. We do everything here. We do Dollar Tree, we do mini craft hauls, we repurpose, we explore all different mediums. And so I'm happy that you've checked out my channel, and I hope you become a subscriber because I would love for you to join my YouTube family. And to my subscribers, well, you know I just adore you. I truly, truly do. So today, it is a huge project. I understand. I see a lot of people and they seem to do the same thing over and over again, and they're very little projects, and I see the worth in that, but sometimes I like to just challenge myself way out of the box, and this was in a box but out of the box. I will insert a picture right here. And yeah, it was a huge undertaking. Not that it was hard, but there was just steps involved, and I made it very, very big. I mean, it's 43, 44 inches long. It's quite long, but it's what I wanted. I was inspired by something I saw on Pinterest, and I just wanted to make it. And really, it wasn't very expensive. I mean, I ended up getting more mountains than I thought I needed, but really that was my only cost. The shelf I found on the side of the road, the trees came from the forest, the grass, yeah, the grass, the lights, and the mountains in the background, and the paint. So really not that expensive. If you go on any kind of Kirkland's or at home and look at these things, they're hundreds of dollars. So, and you can make a small version of it, absolutely. So, as we like to say, we are the home of TriLab, because all we want you to do is try. That's all it takes. So let's try this together. Okay, I hope you can see me. This project, what happened is I found a couple of shelves on the side of the road, and I brought them to my brother-in-law, and he cut them down for me. So they are, let's see, 41.5 long, and then when you add the side pieces, which is another inch, that would make it 43.5 long. And he cut them down to 4.5 wide. And then this is 10.5 high. So what's going to happen is I'm going to take all these birch trees. I found these on the side of the road. If you cut birch trees, make sure you cut trees that are down. You don't want to cut a good tree, but there's so many that are on the side of the road just sitting there, very pretty. So I'm going to cut these down, and I'm going to have several of them go all the way across this box. And then in the background, I'm going to put these Dollar Tree mountains, and they're going to be at different levels. I'll add wood and bring them different down, and of course we're going to change these. So I've got to cut these to the 10.5 inches. So what I'm going to do is cut this straight, and then we'll cut it so that it fits, and then what we'll do is we'll screw them into the box. And then we're going to add lights behind it. I don't know if I'm going to add a back to it or not. I'm kind of on the fence about that. We'll have to see. I may have to do it. I don't know. Alright, so let me cut all these pieces and I'll be back. How well the lighting is, but we're outside. And I painted this slate gray from Waverly, and now I'm taking down this sticky moss. It's the last of it. I got this at AC Moore, so I'm sad to see it go because I love this stuff. But what I'm doing is just peel this and stick it. But again, you could use sheets from the Dollar Tree. They have sheet moss, they have the reindeer moss. You could paint green on the bottom and then just put the reindeer moss all over it. In the
section of Hobby Lobby where they have like all the kids, like if they have to do a project, they have like this green powdery grass. You could put tacky glue all along the bottom. I would paint it green first, and you could throw that at the bottom. You know, there's a lot of different things you can do if you can't find this kind of moss. There's a lot of alternatives. So, perfect. Alright. Then I have all my pieces cut to size, or pretty much. And so what I'm going to do is I am going to hot glue them in to place, and then I'm going to either nail them in or screw them in, depending on how I feel. How's that for a reason? So I'm just putting some hot glue here, and I want back and forth and all that good fine stuff. I really like this really long one, but we'll hold off on that. And as you can see, I'm putting some forward, some backward, just alternating, just as it would be in the forest. Now, if you're a really good cutter, I guess you could hot glue this, and not nail it, but I would nail it just to give it extra staying power. Show you that I made this out of foam core, and I was going to do that, and it looks nice, but I want to use the mountains, so I've decided to turn it on the other side, and I'm going to put a sky scrapbooking paper along the back so that you'll see the mountains and you'll see the sky, and we'll put the lights in the foam core. So if you want to see how I did this, very easy, let me know in the comments and I'll do a tutorial further down the road. But this is it for the birch tree part of it. Alright, so I've changed my mind again on what I want to do, but I'm using these from the Dollar Tree, and you got to take the dreaming off, and I try to save it so that I can reuse it for something somewhere down the road, but you have to be very careful. You have to kind of peel it off, and it's very bendable, but I mean it would break really easy. And then I'm just going to soak this in water and it'll come up, and then the rest of it I just kind of peeled all this off, and then I sanded it. But I'm going to do something different. If you've been watching my channel for any amount of time, I love texture. And so instead of the mountains just being flat in the background, I want them a little more dimensional. So if you go back to an old tutorial that I did, I made a couple of hot air balloons, and I used what they call, and I can't think of it, right? It's this stuff, flexi wrap, rigid wrap. You can get it at Michael's or JoAnn's. Use a coupon because it can get pretty pricey. But I was originally just going to use, hello JoAnn, speak up. I was originally going to use masking tape and paper mache. Well, originally I was just going to paint them purple gray. Let me tell you why. I always was curious about the phrase, Purple Mountains Majesty. I didn't understand that phrase. Coming from New England, the mountains I knew were in New Hampshire, and those were most definitely green. They weren't purple. But I went to college and in Utah, and when you see the sunset, they truly are purple, and it is majestic. Those are real mountains, the Rockies. So I love that. I love purple. So that's why my mountains are going to be purple. So anyways, let me finish cleaning these off and I will show you what I'm going to do. Normally I would be using masking tape and newspaper and just taping all bits and pieces on here to give it texture. But I don't have any masking tape, which is just totally unusual. But this is paper mailing tape. I want to say I got it at the Dollar Tree because I do not remember getting this, but I don't know what it is. But it's a papery tape. So all I'm doing is cutting pieces and putting it down and just bending it in different ways just to add texture. So and then I just make sure I'm covering all of it so it's the same kind of texture, although I guess it really doesn't matter. But I like the straight edges to be along the edges so it's not, but I guess it could be craggy, doesn't really matter. And then I have it's a meshy kind of material that they put, I don't know, plaster of Paris on it maybe? I don't know. But what I'm going to do is just cut some small strips. And I have some warm water. I don't know if it needs warm water, but I just use the warm water because I figure it activates it a little bit better. And I'm going to dip it in the water, drain it, so I don't want it too wet, and then just lay it across. And I'm thinking I may not even need this step, but I'm going to do it anyway because I like the texture of this stuff. And I'm just going to lay it all across, cover it up, and then we're going to let it dry. So I'm going to go ahead and do this, and I will come back when all my pieces are dried, and then we will paint them. Alright? One of the things I did want to show you is, if you don't want to cut up a birch tree, you could also use this. I just found this, and I'm like, oh, I have a tutorial way back when, this is many months ago, where at Christmas time I did some of these birch tree pool noodles, and you could certainly put these in that box too. It'd be a lot lighter, and it's not very expensive. So just thought I'd give you that FYI. If you're looking for it, I'll see if I can find it and put it in the drop down description in the comment section, well, where I put all the materials. But it's birch tree. I'm trying to think what I made. One was a candle thing, and the other thing was, oh, I know, it was a cardinal picture. So yeah, so you might want to put that in too. Alright? Alright. I decided to do different textures. So this is with the rigid wrap. This is with just the tape, and then this is without anything. And I thought that might work out. So I am just going to use Gesso. Now Gesso is, for those who are new to my channel, Gesso is a primer.
So if you put this on your projects, it gives it something to adhere to. Sort of like when you're painting cupboards or furniture, you put primer down so that your paint stays better. So this is by Golden. It's just black gesso. It comes black, white, and clear. But I want to do the black because I am going to paint the mountains with a silvery gray purple hue in the background. So I just want to show you what this looks like. You got to get in there with all the nooks and crannies that I created. Okay? And then I'm going to show you what this looks like. Very different texture. But cool, you know? You want to make sure you get your sides. The backs don't matter because they're not going to be seen. But yeah, so that's that. And then just the plain wood piece. It's not really wood, it's pressed wood at best. But as you can see, it's very, very different. So I'm going to go and paint all of these. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces, and I'll be back. So that's a really nice coincidence. I didn't measure the back of this. I did, but I didn't remember it being 12 inches. So that I don't even have to cut the scrapbook pages. So you will need 4 pieces. Well, if you use the size that I'm doing here, you will need 4 pieces. And I didn't have exactly 4 of the same print, but they're similar enough that I think it'll work for the sky. So I'm just putting this on the back, and now you don't have to use the foam core. You could use the paint sticks in the back. You could use a piece of Luan if you have it. There's just so many things you could do. You could use fabric, really, if you found a really cool piece of fabric. But I do want to put lights on the back. So this is going to be great to punch through it. And then what I like to do is take my debit card or credit card or gift card, whatever you have, of course the one that I want, and just make sure that you get it down really, really well. Like this corner could use a little bit more. And then just go this way, and then this way,
keep going. So this is all dried. So we will attach this with some glue and some small nails. But in the meantime, let's work on the mountains. So I have, this is called Brilliant Purple. I have silver. This is just called neutral gray. And this is just a darker purple. It says diazonine purple. But again, this is just a brand from a lot, like a big lot company that we have called Ocean State Job Lot. But you can use similar colors, or any colors if you want. Brown mountains, white mountains, you know, whatever you would like. But I'm gonna go in with the silver and cover most of this with that. Then I'm gonna mix in some of the dark purple. And I'm not going for complete coverage. I do want some of the black to show through. So there'll be varying degrees of that. But yeah, then I'm going to use the light gray and give it some snow-capped mountains here. So we've got that going on. So let that sit, please. And then another one of those. And the same thing with this one. We'll cover it with silver. And this is just in my own head. It's not from any picture or anything. I just, like I said, I think of Purple Mountain's Majesty, and this is what I'm going with. And then those scrapbook papers that I used have purple in it, so I think it'll look like the sun is creating purple shadows on the mountains. And I like that. So that's what the paper one looks like. And again, we can do some gray so that it looks like snow-capped. And then I want to show you just the painted ones and what that looks like. Again, I don't want it too smooth. I'm just going in with some extra purple and putting that in. And that's it. So I'm going to paint the rest of these, and I'll be back. So I actually screwed each branch into the top. It wasn't what I wanted to do. I actually bought a nail gun so that it could be tinier. I just couldn't figure out how to load the damn thing. So that's what we went with. So I'm thinking I may go with some kind of greenery at the top to cover it. Not exactly sure. But right now we're going to put the mountains up. And let me just show you what I did in the back. I built up the back with just some spare pieces of wood so that there would be different levels of the mountains in the background. Now I'm going to hot glue them in place. Then I am going to glue the backs with some popsicle sticks so that I'm going to kind of, I don't know if I was doing half and half. The other half here. No, I think I was doing this one. Alright. So we're just going to put glue along the bottom. Again, I'm using Gorilla Glue sticks. I'm just holding that up. Looks like I'm going to need more mountains. So I did run out of mountain in my stash that my brother-in-law gave me. He had 2 corner pieces, so I created my own mountain. And now I'm going to just get this rigid wrap again, and I'm going to just put that on here straight away and let that dry, paint it, and then add that. So I just wanted to show you behind. This was that spare piece that I got from my brother-in-law that I put together, and I just secured it with a piece of popsicle stick. But this is what the back looks like. So it looks a little haphazard, but we're gonna fix all that. Yeah, so now the next thing is to take the backdrop, and we're gonna put that like so. So I'm going to get some nails. We're going to hot glue and nail this. So I'm trying, the sun is out and we're outside, so it's kind of very bright. But this is what it looks like with the back on it. And I used these, I don't know if I can show you. There you go. They're called panel nails. They're like a white, and it's a 16 gauge, and I put them all along the back here. So if you can see, yeah, in here. Now I was afraid that they go through the foam core, and they probably would, but I put many, so it should be pretty good. And I'm going to run a bead of hot glue all along the sides. But I also want to show you that I have this strand of fairy lights. This is a very big strand. This has got over 60 lights on it. I just want to show you. Let's see. It's very hard to do this, but yeah, there's tons and tons of lights. So what we're going to do is, this is going to be This is going to be velcroed to the side here, so you can just turn it on. So now we're going to go, and I took this is a large paper clip, and I stretched it out, and now I'm going to just poke holes everywhere the light lands. So as you can see, it lands there. I'm going to poke through, and then I'm going to put this in here. Yeah, now where did I put the hole? Isn't she something? Oh, right here. So, and then I'm just going to poke this through. Probably easier said than done. I think what I'm going to do is squeeze the wire and just stick the light in there. Don't forget we have scrapbook paper on the other side, so it's got to go through that too. But okay, so that's through. And then I will go to the hole and I will put hot glue in all the holes. So I'm going to keep them relatively up here. Let me turn this so I show you where I am. And again, I'm going to poke a hole all the way through, turn it around, bend the wire, and get it through to the other side. And I'm going to do that 60 times. But again, you know, this is a very large scale project. You could make, my daughter goes, man, that's really big, Mom. And I'm like, yeah, I probably overdid it. But I did want a really big wall piece, so there's that. But you could do this on a much smaller scale. You could use the Dollar Tree fairy lights that are just 10, or maybe put 2 fairy lights in and, you know, used to have 20. But yeah, you can adapt this to whatever. All right, I'm gonna go along and do this, and we'll be back. Okay, so there are some spaces in here that show the wood behind. So I'm just taking some reindeer moss and some hot glue, and I'm going to stick that in there, and this way here it will all be covered. And I'm also taking the moss mounds, and I cut them in half because I realized you can get twice as much out of there. So I'm also putting some here. There's a gap over here. And then I'm putting another moss mound here because this one moved a little bit. Look at this one. No, it's this one. And up here, I'm just going to repaint where the nails are. I'm not going to do anything there. So I hope you like this. I know it is huge, big endeavor. I get it. But I've been wanting to do it for a long time now. And I really like the way it turned out. I hope you did too. I hope you try something like it, if it's your cup of tea. Or, like I said, you could definitely do it on a much smaller scale. And I think for Father's Day gifts and stuff, I think, you know, any dad would, you know, if they're an outdoor guy, will love seeing this in their living room. I need another glue stick. But this is it. Thank you so much for hanging in there and watching me create. And please subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. Please share, like, comment. I love but reading your comments, and we need to grow this channel, so please help me. And as we say, keep on creating. Bye!
And there you go. A little bit of the outdoors, indoors. Enjoy.